Hello, everyone. My name's Christy Nowak, and I'm the composition librarian. And in this video, what I'm going to be talking about is accessing library resources online. So this involves things like navigating the library's website, finding books and articles, and getting help if you need it. The library's website is lib.colostate.edu, and this is a really important site to know about because it has a lot of materials that you're probably going to use in your classes. Things like course reserves, finding books and articles, reserving study rooms, lots and lots of different things. So it's a good idea to bookmark this site, and I'm going to show you some ways that you can access it. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and go to a browser, and this is just the general Colorado State University homepage. To get to the libraries, one of the easiest ways is to go to resources. I just clicked on that over in the corner. And then under current students, one of the options is libraries. As I mentioned, it's just lib.colostate.edu, so you can also just type in the URL. I think it's a really good website to bookmark because, as I mentioned, you're probably going to be using it a lot. In terms of this homepage, a couple of things to notice is these green boxes down here. These are typically things that we get asked a lot of questions about. So, for example, a lot of people ask how to access their course reserves. You basically click on the course reserve button, and there's an option to find your course reserves. And then you log in, and then you'll be able to see the things that are put on reserve for the courses that you're enrolled in. Similarly, we get a lot of questions about study room reservations. If you click on that button, you'll be able to access the calendar where you can see which study rooms are available when and reserve a time. So those are some of the things that we frequently get questions about in some of our popular services. I'm going to transition a little bit now to talking about how to find materials like books and articles. So you'll probably notice that there's this big search box on the homepage. This is a tool called Primo, which basically is a tool that searches a bunch of different resources at the same time. I'll go ahead and do a search. I'm going to do climate change and health. And depending on the search, you might see different results, but oftentimes with searches in this resource, you might see videos or conference proceedings, government documents, books, articles, tons and tons of different things. So, I'll just scroll through a little bit. You can see that we've got some different things here, mostly books. If I did want to look for something specific, like let's say I wanted to look for books, I could go up here and change this and specify that I wanted to see books and more. So then I'll be seeing books and, book type things like journals. And by the way, this library does have a lot of both ebooks and paper books. So as I'm scrolling through, I can see for some of these things it's saying online access, or sometimes it'll say where it is in the library. Let's go ahead and look at this. This is an ebook because it says online access. And I can see like the full text available at, that's just telling me where to click. And I'll go ahead and click on the link. And it looks a little bit different for different ebooks, so it won't always look exactly the same. And by the way, since I'm off campus, I just got prompted to sign in. I signed in with my EID and password. It's exactly the same as signing into Canvas or anything else. But if you are off campus, you probably will get prompted to log in. And then once I log in, I have access to my ebook. I can actually see here that I can download the full book. So I can download a PDF of the entire book. Some of these you have to read online or you can only download chapters. But this is a really convenient one because I can download that book and I can read it at my convenience. So that's an example of an ebook. I'm going to go back to my search and so that we can look at a print book. And I'm going to limit by print over on the left just so it makes it easier for me to find one. And here's an example of a print book. I'll go ahead and click on it. This is telling me that it's currently available, so it's not checked out, and this is its location in Morgan Library. You may or may not be familiar with this numbering system. There are signs around the building that, have, section A through D. So, you would know that books that start with that letter are going to be found in that section. So that's the basic idea. If this numbering system is at all confusing to you, there's another option, which is you can sign in. Again, it's your EID and password. I don't think it's going to prompt me because I already signed in. And once you sign in, you'll also have a request option. So I can go ahead and request this book, and that just means it'll be pulled for me and I can pick it up at that first desk when I walk into the library. So I can pick it up in Morgan Library and I'll get an email when it's ready. So that's also an option for checking out books. So that's a little bit about books. I also want to talk a little bit about databases. And I'm opening a different browser window so you can sort of see what the sign in process looks like in a database. And databases are what I typically recommend you use to find articles. And you can access the complete list on this A to Z database list right here under that default search box. And we have 373 databases. It's a lot. If you have a particular one you know you want to look at, you can find in this alphabetic list, or you can find, if you know you want something that relates to education, you can find it in the subject list. I imagine a lot of students won't have a specific one that you want to start with. That's totally fine. The one I recommend that you start with then is Academic Search Premier, which is the first one listed under starting points. This is a really great database because it really covers all areas. So, no matter what your topic is, you're probably going to be able to find something. And it has like newspaper articles and peer reviewed articles. It's got a lot of different article types. Again, I am off campus, so it's asking me to sign in. I just opened a new browser. It wouldn't be doing this if, I was already signed in, but that's where it asks you to sign in if you're accessing a database. And then you'll be seeing a search page. It's very similar. Climate change, health. I'll do the same search. I'm going to break it up. I'm not going to talk a lot about database search strategies in this particular video, but basically you put together your search and then you'll be able to see the articles you find. And you can do things like click on a title to see more information about the article. And if there's a PDF available, you can go ahead and click on that PDF to see the full article, and then you can download and print that PDF. If you don't see a PDF, there's also this Find It at CSU button, which will show you additional options. But frequently you're going to see PDFs and they'll be pretty easy to access. I do want to mention that you should never have to pay for an article in our databases. Sometimes if people are searching in Google Scholar, or if a link's not working in our database, they'll go to a page like this, which when you try to access the PDF says you have to pay like $40 for it. You should not have to do this. We can get you articles. So if you are in a situation where you need an article and you're being asked to pay for it, contact me, contact the library, and we'll be able to help you. So that's a little bit about finding articles. I'm just going to go ahead and go back to the homepage. Few more things I want to mention. I'm going to click on the summer 2021 updates. This might look a little bit different when you're watching the video because this is changing all the time. But this basically has updates about our services because there are some situations and unknowns going on with the pandemic. So if there are any updates to like our hours or our services, these will be posted here. One thing that a lot of students are interested in is this laptop checkout information. So there's actually a laptop checkout page which has information about us checking out laptops. Right now they're available for some are available for 6-hour loans and some are available for 1-week loans, and they're on a first come first served basis. But there's also information about other laptop services that are available on campus. So this is a good thing to know about if you need a laptop or if you're having trouble with yours and need a temporary laptop, something like that. And the last thing I just want to mention, I'm clicking on this Ask button up in the corner. If you have any questions about any of this, please feel free to let us know. There's this 24/7 chat box where you can get a really quick answer if you have a simple question. You can ask a question by email, and also this is my contact information. I'm happy to answer questions about any of this. So this is how you contact me. And also this is a link to the research guide for CO 150. There are also research guides for a lot of other classes and topics. So if you have any questions, please let us know. Thank you.